Hello, everyone. After some debate as to what the what if this occurs in Green Lantern animated series video for the build of the Justice League for this month, when I was debating it, I was thinking either Aquaman or Green Arrow, but I'm gonna go with Green Arrow because I had to rewrite elements of Aquaman's video due to them being similar to next month's video, which will be Wonder Woman's video. But anyways, what if Green Arrow is in Green Lantern the animated series? This is actually a good possibility, honestly. Now, I could picture Matthew Mercer and Laura Bailey as Green Arrow and Black Canary. But before we get into the plot, I'm just going to shed some backstory on those two. Prior to the events of the main story, Green Arrow and Black Canary fought different villains like Brick, Malcolm Merlin, the Lombo Hunters, as well as Sportsmaster. But then there's the question of what happened to them afterwards. Simple. They retired from heroics. Like Mr. Incredible and all the other superheroes in The Incredibles. But it's not because superheroes were banned. It's because Green Arrow and Black Canary got married. It's not the marriage, but it's Black Canary being pregnant with their child that made it a risk for them to continue their superhero career. Heck, even Dinah actually went into labor during a fight. And Oliver had to help her with the birth of their son, Connor Lance Queen. After the birth of their son, they retired to live a normal family life. And of course, there's an extended family member, being Sarah Lance, Dinah's sister and Connor's aunt, and Oliver's sister-in-law. And for 10 years, they've been living a normal family life. Honestly. But then, let's get into the main story. At some point, Green Arrow and the gang would have went to Star City, and obviously they would have been trying to find a hero named Green Arrow. As Martian Manhunter probably would have told them about Green Arrow and Black Canary. But little do they know that they're retired. And here's a scene from The Incredibles. This is where Dinah would be introduced, and she's at her son's school talking with the principal and her son's teacher. In which, the whole, he moves! Right there! Right there! Coincidence? I think not! This is honestly my favorite part of the movie, aside from, honey, where's my super suit? It's the same, but instead of the whole whoosh, that kind of thing, where, Dash was sneaking up on his teacher, placing an attack, it's more so Connor realizing that he has his mother's sonic scream. When throughout his life, he thought he was a normal person, like his father. But turns out he's more like his mother in a way. He has her blonde hair and blue eyes. Now you may be thinking, isn't that Oliver's appearance? Oliver's appearance here is that his hair is more of a golden brown. And he has green eyes. Because, hence the name Green Arrow. Apparently, Dinah and her son go home. Oliver's been continuing his job at Star Labs, but he's not having the best time with his customers. Not that they're angry with him, but he's just having a difficult time cooperating with them. Apparently, after a day of work, Oliver returns home to meet Dinah and Connor. They discuss about what happened at school. Like, Dinah telling her husband Connor got sent to the office, and Oliver's like, huh, interesting. And then Dinah explains the whole thing, and Oliver's then takes Dinah up to their room, and then they have a private conversation saying that he shouldn't have figured this out. He should never have known that they're superheroes, something they've kept a secret from this whole time. In terms of their civilian identities, Dinah's civilian identity would be, I would say, her DCAU appearance, and Oliver is his civilian identity from, the Arrowverse. As for when they first met, Oliver was just a normal. He was just by himself until he saved Black Canary from a group of criminals where she was a singer at and was forced to sing. No, she doesn't hate singing, but still. Apparently, someone comes at their house, and this turns out to be Hal Jordan. Oliver would recognize Hal. I'd say there's an age gap between the two. I'd say Oliver is older than Hal for obvious reasons. Apparently, Hal would meet Connor for the first time, and things go well. However, when Oliver and Dinah are watching TV in their room, they find out that someone named Count Vertigo, who was one of their old villains, has returned. And Sportsmaster has also returned along with the longbow arrows. But there's a new villain wearing a cat mask. And so they then tell Hal that they're going to need him to watch over Connor. But Hal reveals that he's a superhero like them, and this then forces the two to call Sarah over to watch over Connor while they take care of the threat. Now, how did Count Vertigo reappear? With the help of Larfleeze and Atrocitus. And apparently, some Manhunter equipment has been used for the longbow arrows so they can be more stronger in their fights with Green Arrow and Black Canary. Green Arrow and Black Canary, of course, would then put on their superhero outfits after Sarah comes over to watch over Connor. And apparently, they would meet Kilowog, Razor, and Aya. And of course, as they face some of the longbow arrows who are attacking the ship, two villains appear. Sportsmaster, who I could see being played by Stephen Lane, maybe. And Cheshire, who I could picture being played by someone like Christina V or Grey Delisle. She's a new villain, one that Oliver and Dinah have never faced. And because they have been retired from heroics for 10 years, they do get a little rusty and even lose the fight between the two. Cheshire is there to, of course, set up Roy Harper for a potential Green Arrow show. And apparently, at some point, after the fight, Oliver and Dinah get captured. By the longbow arrows, as well as Atrocitus. Hal just blames himself for the two getting captured, but Razor could tell them it's not his fault. They need to save him now. Apparently, Oliver and Dinah wake up in the villain's base, and of course they would meet Count Vertigo, who I could picture being played by Keith Silverstein. And of course, his backstory would be similar to that of Syndrome in the original plot of The Incredibles back when Zarek was the villain, in which he was an old villain of Green Arrow and Black Canary, and they thrown him in jail, but as of recently, he just broke out. And he thought that the two of them having a family would resolve their superhero lives and put them out of the picture, even him. But they should have known that he had to return sooner or later. And he tells them that the best part is, the police didn't know that he escaped yet. And of course, Oliver could go, "You'll be back before they do." Yeah, a lot of this video, is kind of like The Incredibles. And then, of course, Vertigo, whose base is like an abandoned base at a part of Star City. And when Hal and the gang are taking their ship to save Oliver and Dinah, Vertigo begins to torture Dinah and Oliver for information. Just like how Syndrome is torturing Mr. Incredible for information. And then, of course, he forces one of his associates to launch the missiles at the ship. And it would be heavily implied that he had done this with other heroes, thus making Vertigo more like Syndrome in a way, for obvious reasons. Apparently, Hal and the gang would survive the explosion, but Oliver and Dinah think they're dead. But Hal and the gang, of course, would end up flying out and landing in a part of the jungle. But on the way, they face different Manhunter robots that would have arrow abilities. But Hal and the gang would destroy them along the way. It would even turn out that Carol Ferris is there, and she becomes Star Sapphire. Thus, she can help them save Oliver and Dinah faster. Meanwhile, back at home, Sarah... She and Connor have a similar dynamic to Jack and his babysitter Kari. But unlike that, where it became difficult for Kari to take care of Jack, Sarah's trying to help Connor with, dealing with the fact that his parents were actually superheroes. Apparently, Hal and the gang take down some of the Longbow arrows, which are the guards, and even have a fight with Cheshire, which would end with her being defeated. They come face to face with Count Vertigo. And of course, Carol disables the electric prison that's containing Oliver and Dinah, and that frees them. And then an all-out fight ensues with the Longbow arrows, Sportsmaster, Vertigo, Oliver, Dinah, and Hal in the gang. And it's an epic fight. And at one point, as soon as Vertigo's henchmen are defeated, Vertigo unleashes a robot in which he controls. It's kind of like the Omnidroid, except it'd be like if the Omnidroid was controlled by an actual person. And it's an epic fight, destroying the base. And it becomes difficult for the heroes to defeat at first, but they then use their combined strengths, Oliver's arrows, Dinah's screams, and the Lantern's power core to destroy the robot, which could have killed Vertigo, or he might have escaped. Who knows, honestly? We may never know unless a Green Arrow show would happen. And in the end, the heroes are victorious. What's left of the Longbow era, Hunters and Cheshire and Sportsmaster are caught and apprehended. And then, of course, Hal in the game return Oliver and Dinah to Sarah and Connor. Oliver earlier would have promised that this would have been a one-time thing, but they will return in case they need help. As in Hal in the game, obviously. And then, of course, Star Sapphire would then come onto the ship with Hal in the game, Kilowog, Razor, and Aya, and then they leave Star City, and it comes to an end here. However, we're not done yet. Apparently, a month has passed, and it's Connor's last day of school, and as Oliver, Sarah, Connor, and Dinah are leaving, someone appears, and that happens to be Malcolm Merlin and some of the Longbow Hunters. And, of course, they would be led by Brick, who declares war on Star City and will take over its criminal empire in the city. And then, of course, Dinah and Connor... Well, not Connor. Dinah and Oliver suit up to take down the threat, as Connor and Sarah would watch. And that's where the story actually comes to an end, similar to The Incredibles. So that's what if Green Arrow was in Green Lantern, the animated series. Now, could this lead to a Green Arrow spin-off show? Yes, it definitely could. I might actually include this in my DCMA Universe video, which my DCMA Universe is meant to be kind of like connecting Green Lantern, the animated series, and Beware the Batman in the same universe with spin-off shows about other characters. And you might know this is taking a bunch of elements from The Incredibles, if none of you have caught it, or if you haven't heard me. But anyways, I will see you all later.